Welcome to Webinar 3 of Webinar Series 2019. The topic of Webinar 3 is Teacher Leadership in the Classroom. I know that this topic is resonating because we are all teachers, and perhaps there are more questions to be asked later. In today's webinar, we are going to cover the following points. 1. What is teacher leadership in the classroom? 2. What are the guiding principles of teacher leadership in the classroom? And 3. How can the teacher demonstrate effective management in leading the classroom? To begin, what is leadership in the classroom? Leadership in the classroom is about bringing students to the next grade, to the next level of education, to higher education, and to employment successfully. In other words, leadership in the classroom is about bringing students to the top of the academic mountain. How this is done would depend on the context. However, the guiding principles of teacher leadership in the classroom and the points to consider in classroom management that will be shared to you in this webinar can help a classroom teacher bring students to success. This prompts us to move to the second talking point. What are the guiding principles of teacher leadership in the classroom? I choose 3 guiding principles that teacher keeps in mind in leading the classroom. These are good teaching, active engagement, and positive interactions. Good teaching. What is good teaching? To define good teaching is to share with you 10 characteristics of good teaching as follows. 1. Good teaching is as much about passion as it is about reason. It's about motivating students not only to learn, but teaching them how to learn, and doing so in a manner that is relevant, meaningful, and memorable. 2. Good teaching is about substance and treating students as consumers of knowledge. It is about doing your best to keep on top of your field, reading sources inside and outside of your areas of expertise, and being at the leading edge as often as possible. 3. Good teaching is about listening, questioning, being responsive, and remembering that each student and class is different. It's about eliciting responses and developing the oral communication skills of the quiet students. It's about pushing students to excel, and at the same time, it's about being human, respecting others, and being professional at all times. 4. Good teaching is about not always having a fixed agenda and being rigid, but being flexible, fluid, experimenting, and having the confidence to react and adjust to changing circumstances. It's about getting only 10% of what you wanted to do in a class done and still feeling good. 5. Good teaching is about style. Should good teaching be entertaining? Does this mean that it lacks in substance? Good teachers are the conductors, and the class is their orchestra. All students play different instruments and at varying proficiencies. A teacher's job is to develop skills and make these instruments come to life as a coherent whole to make music. 6. Good teaching is about humor. It's about not taking yourself too seriously. It's about making good jokes so that students learn in a more relaxed atmosphere where you, like them, are human with your own share of faults and shortcomings. 7. Good teaching is about caring, nurturing, and developing minds and talents. It's about devoting time, often invisible, to every student. It's also about the thankless hours of grading, designing and redesigning courses, and preparing materials to still further enhance instruction. 8. Good teaching is supported by strong and visionary leadership and very tangible institutional support, resources, personnel, and funds. 9. Good teaching is about mentoring between senior and junior faculty, teamwork, and being recognized and promoted by one's peers. Effective teaching should also be rewarded, and poor teaching needs to be limited through training and development programs. And then, at the end of the day, good teaching is about having fun, experiencing pleasure and intrinsic rewards, like locking eyes with the student in the back row and seeing the synapses and neurons connecting, thoughts being formed, the student becoming better, and a smile cracking across a face as learning all of a sudden happens. I have just shared with you good teaching as first guiding principle of leadership in the classroom. Let's proceed to the second guiding principle of leadership in the classroom, active engagement. What is active engagement? Active engagement means involving each student in activities that encourage each student to develop a deeper understanding of content by working with and reflecting upon the material being presented. Active engagement transforms students from being mere recipients of information to being participants actively engaged with new information in a learning environment. Active engagement leads to self-questioning, deeper thinking, and problem-solving. Engagement strategies like repetition, trial and error, and posing questions move the brain into active and constructive learning, and such activities can lead to higher student achievement. So, where does a teacher begin? I will share you 3 steps. Step 1, preparation. Preparing classes that actively engage students requires a lot of planning. First, the teacher must prepare the lecture or other type of instruction. Then, he or she must select learning activities that support the content of the instruction and engage students. Here are 5 points teachers should follow. 1. Thoroughly understand the curriculum. 2. Identify teaching objectives and strategies that engage students and build understanding. 3. Ask yourself these planning questions. A. What is the goal? B. What order does the teaching need to follow? C. What do the students already know? And D. What do I want them to learn? 4. Prepare the lecture or instruction of the concepts and skills based on your goals. And 5. Construct processing activities that match your concepts, skills, and goals. Step 2. Teaching. To engage students, the teacher must do more than lecture. While teaching the concepts and skills, the teacher must help students draw on their own experiences to build a scaffold on which they can hang new ideas. When students are actively engaged, they focus on what is being taught and process new information better. Because the most effective teaching takes place in chunks, it is best to teach new information or concepts in 7 to 10-minute segments, followed by a processing activity. After teaching several segments, the teacher can use a longer processing activity. The activity should be tied tightly to the concepts or skills previously taught so that it builds understanding. Step 3. Processing activities. A processing activity is an activity that causes students to pose questions, manipulate information, and relate the new learning to what they already know. Such engagements reinforce the learning and help move the learning to the long-term memory banks. A processing activity can be as simple as a 60-second jotting down of the important points just covered, telling your table partner 3 things that you just learned, or expressing something in a song. It can also be longer processing activities as follows: designing a concept map, creating an outline, writing a story problem, making up a different ending to a story, designing mock trials, conducting an experiment in a science lab, and more. In summary, when students are actively engaged in their learning, they are processing and retaining information and using higher order thinking. Those are the 3 steps of making students actively engage in the classroom. Now, we move to the last guiding principle of teacher leadership in the classroom: student-teacher positive interactions. Successful teachers are those that have the ability to maximize the learning potential of all students in their class. Developing positive relationships between a teacher and student is a fundamental aspect of quality teaching and student learning. Take some time to reflect on the 7 signs of positive teacher-student relationships and consider if you have been applying these at your school. 1. Provide structure. The majority of students respond positively to a structured environment. Rules and regulations must be sensible and constantly reinforced. In these situations, students' trust in their teacher will increase, and they will understand that their teacher has their best interests at heart. 2. Teach with enthusiasm and passion. 3. Display a positive attitude. 4. make learning fun. The creation of an enjoyable learning environment encourages student attendance and participation. 5. Show an interest in your students' lives outside of the classroom. 6. Treat students with respect. A teacher who respects his or her students will experience reciprocal respect from his or her students. And 7. Create a secure and safe environment for students. Teachers need to set expectations where students do not criticize, bully, or intimidate each other. Developing positive teacher-student relationships takes significant time and effort. However, the benefit on both the teacher and student is immeasurable. I have just presented to you the 3 guiding principles of teacher leadership in the classroom, namely, good teaching, active engagement, and positive student-teacher interaction. The next point comes to mind in managing the classroom integrating these 3 guiding principles. This moves us to the last talking point of our webinar today. How can the teacher demonstrate effective management in leading the classroom? When you watch a teacher with great classroom management technique, you can feel like magic. The truth is that leading classroom management can be learned. Here are 7 points to consider in your quest for leading classroom management to excellence. 1. Build relationships. This is the most effective classroom management technique. When students trust their teacher, they make more of an effort to follow the rules. When teachers make an effort to get to know each student on a more personal basis, they get more out of their experience as well. 2. Make positive phone calls home. Another important classroom management technique is the positive phone call home. It's very easy to get into the habit of calling home only when there is an issue to report. While these calls are necessary and worthwhile, calls home for celebration are equally, if not more, important. Every parent wants to hear positive news about his child. And this reinforcement almost always makes its way back to the student. Try to make one positive call to a different student's home every single day, even if it's simply to report on a nice comment a kid made in class. This means so much to parents and students, and usually translate to positive classroom behavior as well. 3. Celebrate hard work. Show students that you value the work they put into learning. Identify milestones in the work everyone is accomplishing each day. Once a week, choose one particularly hardworking team or student to share his or her story. Let the class ask the student how he accomplished the work. What a valuable lesson kids learn when they hear peers talking about what hard work means to them. Kids who know their work will be celebrated instead of just their grades will pay more attention and stay focused. 4. Maintain authority all year long. You meant it when you started the year, but it's easy to relax a bit as the year moves along. tell kids to stop talking and get back to work, but you don't follow through, you tell them it doesn't matter that much. This can lead to teachers raising their voices and saying things they regret. You don't have to be mean. You just have to mean it. So make a list of rules that are effective and really matter to you, and then share them with your students. Post them visibly and refer to them often. 5. Make sure that students know what rules mean. Just because you stated them, shared them, and posted them, doesn't mean students know what they mean. Human beings talk for lots of reasons, so keep your expectations appropriate. 6. Accommodate all learners. Make sure every one of your students is able to learn the way you plan to teach. This means reviewing your plan and taking notes. Share your fears and concerns with the special ed team or professional community, whatever you call it at your own context. So many classroom management challenges can be averted by considering and planning for the needs in your classroom. Understanding procedures and consequences may be just what a child with a behavior problem needs in order to feel more in control of his her impulses. Remember to design lessons that suits to the needs of the target students. And 7, be prepared. Even if you aren't required to submit lesson plans, it doesn't mean you shouldn't do them. There's a lot to manage throughout the day, and then knowing what you're supposed to be teaching can easily destroy a good day. Develop plans that work for your teaching style, accommodate all learners, go along with curriculum standards, and pick the curiosity of your students. It may sound daunting, but the more you do it, the better you get. In order to really manage your classroom well, you need to be able to sell your classroom. You aren't just a teacher, you are a performer and a marketer. When kids feel your passion and know where the learning is headed, they will be pumped to rise to high achievement. Each year can be the year that the students in your class never forget. I have just presented the key points that I have in mind to share with you about teacher leadership in the classroom, such as the 3 guiding principles: good teaching, active engagement, and student-teacher positive interactions. And the 7 points to consider to lead an effective classroom management. I wish that you could pick up 1 or 2 from this webinar and apply it at your school in your own context. That ends our 3rd webinar, Teacher Leadership in the Classroom. Thank you.